Alrighty. Let's. Oh, I guess I didn't really introduce myself. I'll throw that in real quick. I am Papa Bear, filling in for Titan today. I run the Solar Farm Orchestrator, and it's been, I would say, 2.5 years since that started. And I actually was just curious to talk a little bit about the benchmark, the AI benchmarking stuff, and I saw that uh, Doug put out a kind of a request for someone if they could write a script and for a grant to automate running the benchmark task. And then also I was going to bring up, which Mike brought up, the Livepeer Cloud SPE updates, and that's all I've got today. So all right, so we will start with Pawn. You have asked for advice on AI hardware. Did you have any thoughts on what you were thinking about running, or just trying to get ideas of what people's are doing? Or actually, go ahead, Pawn, ask your question.
Well, I'm just starting looking around, looking for motherboard and CPU, basically, like trying to get the best combo. I already decided that I'm gonna go water-cooled route, but let's say it in American way. Uh, so yeah, I got a big massive case now, and just trying to figure out what I want to do with motherboard and CPU. So I'm looking at a Threadripper 3970X, I do believe. And just trying to find a motherboard. I'm not really sure what's going to be overkill for AI, what's not good enough. Does anyone have any ideas?
I can just ask you this question: are you planning on running multiple GPUs in this machine? I'm assuming so. If you're
Eventually,
going with
yes.
a
Yeah, yeah.
Threadripper, you're probably
Eventually, yes.
doing that for the PCIe lanes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I found
I
a
don't.
couple of Yeah, sorry. I found a couple of motherboards that has 6 PCIe 16 lanes, so that should be adequate, I do believe.
Yeah, either that or, well, even with that, you will be building, well, I guess even with liquid cooling, you're still probably building heaters of some sort in your house with that. So, yeah, getting 6 cards into a machine is gonna at least draw a lot of power no matter what. So,
Well, it's not going to be 6, even if you're going to go water cooling route. It's gonna be free because it's still gonna be double slot GPUs basically instead of 4 slot.
yeah, still gonna,
And
well, depending on what you go with. Yeah, it's a big power draw for the place where I live. I don't think I could get that on one circuit here. So I'd have to plug into like multiple rooms to get that running. But,
fair enough. I'm just
yeah,
hoping that I'm gonna have yeah, I'm just hoping that I'm gonna have a nice heated garage from now on.
well, yes, I guess if you can use it to your favor, then it's a real bonus. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts, Rick? I know you're kind of up to date on, or you're pretty good with hardware stuff. Do you have any thoughts on uh, Pon's uh, potential?
Yeah, I've looked myself as well, but I'm not going the water cooled route at the moment because I'm not used to building with water yet. So what I'm probably gonna do, what I said in the server already, I'm gonna just buy a bigger case, put three transcoding GPUs in there, 1070s, and then another big case for three 90s, and I will just test out the load. And if I need more GPUs, I will probably go to server GPUs in a server rack, and I try to how do you call it, rent a rack room and put it there because in my house it's not possible to have so much noise. So I looked at the water cooled route, but I'm not confident enough to go down that route.
Yeah, I've always shied away from water cooled in the past, but I think that especially with these, these 40 series cards that are just enormous, and I guess even the 3090s are big too. It's definitely appealing just to be able to squeeze more into that case. Because I've got a 4090 that's running air cooled right now, and uh, I don't think I could fit another card of any size in there with it. So there's definitely something appealing about water cooling. But
Yeah, I think for home use, I would have water cooled it as well. But for now, Yeah, the air-cooled versions I built it now don't have that much noise, but I didn't test them with the 380s, and I heard that those are extremely loud.
Yeah, I don't have a problem
Um,
with the sound so much. It's for me, it's just it's the space that it takes up in the case. You're covering up, good PCIe slots, just just by having that card hanging over them. So for me, that it's the space savings. I think that would be the bigger issue. Um,
Yeah, I probably haven't sent you a picture of the case that I got myself yet.
Bond sent me a picture. It's beautiful.
It's like a quarter of an American fridge, basically. Let's say that.
okay. Um, yeah, no, I actually I've
The big
repurposed the
boy there.
yeah, I know I've repurposed the gaming machine and for just I really got it just to test and see kind of where the 4090 lands in the on the benchmarks that people have been running, but haven't made any kind of decisions for large scale like deployment and it would where the issue is I'd probably want to co-locate at that point because where my location is being on the west coast doesn't get as much traffic as the EU or the East Coast, so it wouldn't make sense for me to have a bunch of stuff running from the house, although I'd like the cost savings of it. Um, so yeah, the power draw and and the server hardware just scares me off a little, or concerns me a little bit about just what it's going to cost to run these things because they do suck down quite a bit of power. And when you're co-locating, they most data centers want to know how many amps you're running, and they charge you based on that, and it gets real expensive real fast. So um, that's my concern about trying to set up systems for multi sorry for sorry, I'm blanking out for just worldwide use. And so yeah, that's kind of my concern is trying to figure out a reasonable power balance.
Do we know the network requirements for this? I mean, I suspect it's not going to be as much as transcoding, but I could be totally wrong.
um, I don't think anything's been published on that. My guess would be leaning along the lines of what you're saying, as far as like probably don't need as much bandwidth, just based on how long it takes to process the stuff locally. But I guess it could also change with use case down the road too. So um,
I
it's
mean,
just
the output at the end is going to be a video. Who knows how long and what format it'll be in, but I suspect there's going to be some networking involved. I'm not sure I have a good beat on it yet. My home
yeah,
network's terrible. That's the reason why I'm pointing it out. Upload's really bad.
yeah. From what I've seen, just from the the initial testing, is that these are like 2-second videos, and they will be transcoded to H.264. So it's not a big file that's going up, and if they take a minute or so to process on the machine, I don't think it's going to be a crazy bandwidth requirements, but in general, more is better. So, but yeah, I don't think we know.
No, yeah, it's easy to check out. I haven't not looked at Stable Diffusion, for example, but if you run it, you can check out what's this output size, I think. But I think it will be different bandwidth. It will have bigger spikes, but not the whole time, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, like when I'm kind of going off memory here, but just doing like local testing with Stable Diffusion or Stable Video Diffusion, the output files were like, I mean, a couple of megabytes a piece for those 2 to 4 second videos. So um, it's not a lot of bandwidth. I mean, it's not a big file size. And again, they take a minute or so, or depending on I guess the pipeline, the workflow. They could take a minute or two just to get them out. So it's not going to be continuously just like pounding on your network, but still, I guess you do want to get it back as fast as possible. But I guess yeah, we'll kind of have to wait, and time will tell on that.
That's cool.
Let's see. I wish Speedy was here. I know he's a pretty big on the hardware side.
Yeah,
Who's that?
and I understand your problem with the energy. That's why I was looking at server GPUs because they're a little bit more efficient. Have you guys worked with them already, like the P100, P40, I think, L40? Those are still reasonably priced.
I have not. I mean, the only thing that I have that's even like remotely above a commercial grade card is like the old RTX 4000, which was like the equivalent of a Quadro card, and they're quite energy efficient compared to their equivalent of I think it was like a 2080, 2070, something like that they're equivalent to. But yeah, I mean they're definitely a lot more energy efficient. Um, but no, I don't have any other experience. Nothing with
I
data
just
center.
run with the Tesla M60.
Wow, Titan, that is where are you? Where are you, Titan? That's some compression we're hearing there.
In the plane, you said.
Yeah,
Uh,
I probably
oh,
won't stick with. Yeah, I've been playing. I just want to try it out, but it works.
yeah, we can hear you. My maybe with my age, I couldn't make it out as well as some of the younger people on here, but I can make it out. Um, but good to have you here, Titan. Um, any other?
Yeah, no, it's not. My topic is around benchmarking. I'll explain it in the chat. I will talk this moment easy. Thanks, thanks, Bobby.
I heard something about benchmarking. I heard thanks, Papa, but that's about all I got out of that. I don't know if anyone can translate what Titan said, but was there a question there, or is it just kind of chatting? All right, well, chime in again, and Titan, if you have a
I
question.
think he said he was going to post it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, I should probably check that then. Huh. Okay. Oh yeah. Realized so much chat was going on today. Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, he's still typing. His topic is around benchmarking AI models. I did all the benchmarks on all the models. Oh, did you post those results, Titan? Would love to share my results and gather other people's results and create a graph. No, I haven't posted them. Okay. Yeah. After I saw Doug's post, I went and did the image to image one also. Now, are there different models too on top of the different workflows? Because I didn't see that in the docs anywhere. If there was ways to load other models in. I don't know if anyone else has looked at that, but I ran the image. I ran the first the text to video, text to image, and then did the image to image. But I don't know if there was any other models. Oh, the 5 models Titan's saying. I need to look back at that and see how to run those because I didn't. Oh, Turbo XL, Stable Diffusion. Is that
I don't want to
documented?
complicate the mod. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Finish yours.
I was just wondering if anyone knows, was there documentation in there that I missed that says how to run the different models? I just kind of took what like the default samples that were there and ran them. I guess I can go back and take a look. And Titan's still typing here. It says when you download the models, it's separated into separate folders. All right. I guess I need to do a little more research there. You just gotta load the folders. Okay. I guess I have more benchmarking work to do.
I was gonna say, I don't know how folks are doing their benchmarks, but ideally, if possible, on the server you're testing, can you run the node exporter and GPU exporter tools so that you can actually capture system resource usage and also, GPU resource usage, because I think that'll go a long way when we start talking about, the differences between hardware and the differences between different models running on the same hardware. So without that data, I think it might be very subjective to determine, what the proper setup would be. So if folks could include that, or if maybe we just need to document how to do that, but I would love to hear, see some of the charts and graphs from Node Exporter and GPU Exporter to see what the impact is for some of these benchmarks.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I just have a real simple Docker container running, and I usually when I'm running my node exporter, I like to put that into a Portainer stack, but I need to expand my license, so I've got to, yeah, I guess I can manually install that stuff, but as of right now, I'm not set up to do any monitoring other than just what the benchmark shows, which does have,
Well, I
like
just
what
think, it helps us sizing and resource usage wise. I mean,
yeah,
if we're consistently comparing apples to apples.
have you looked at what is in the benchmarks? Because it does show like what is like how much memory is being used, like how much VRAM is being used and stuff, or that's included in the benchmark, but it's not like over time.
It's
Like
basic stuff, yeah,
yeah,
and I think it would definitely be useful to compare charts against, like, say, for example, somebody has, a 4090 and they have, their particular server and they run model A versus model B, that will have a different impact on the system resources and the VRAM, et cetera. I just wanted to see if any given model was worse on a given card, or maybe a particular amount of RAM on the server and the card matters. So like these tools help correlation a lot more.
yeah, no, those are good points. And then I guess we also have to figure out a standardized way to be able to post all that so that it makes sense. And that goes back to what Doug was asking for. If someone could write a script that would run through everything, and if possible, then put it into like a CSV file, and then I guess if there was a way to also include the system resources that were being used as well, that would be handy too. But it's a little
Yeah,
over my. Go ahead,
I
Rick.
think we can make a Docker container. Then you can run Node Exporter and Video Exporter, and I think you can download the databases from given timestamps. So then you would write it out to the host system.
The database is from Node Exporter. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
from Prometheus. It depends on which database you use.
Yeah, I use what do
I
use?
think the script that Doug mentioned might go and align with this node exporter, GPU exporter. I think we're going to need to provide an example for folks to follow.
Well, I mean that's I think what the point of it too was that there would be a standardized way to not only run all the tests, but then also have all the data in a format that can easily be added to a chart, and and we'd see the same data points for everyone. So we're not just randomly testing things and posting them up, which makes it it's a lot of work even with just 5 or 6 people that have posted their results to keep scrolling back up and down and say how does this card do compared to that card. It would be nice to have it in a spreadsheet.
I agree. So I think you can do the Docker container and you can even send it to an online endpoint, but that will be more work. Just send the result if somebody does a benchmark somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has the time to work on that, but if they do, it would be greatly appreciated, I think, by everyone. And it looks like there's also some grant money in it too, so definitely worth thinking about if you've got the skills for that and the time.
I have the time in 3 weeks, I think, but not
Yeah.
right now.
No, I understand, and I'm working on the getting the cloud stuff up, and I've been paid for that, so that's my priority right now. And I think Mike's in the same boat, so or Mike better be in the same boat. And so yeah, if anyone else has that ability, that would be great. If you want to take a look at that.
Well, I have GPU exporter and node exporter Docker compose stacks. I can share those with folks, but that would be at least part of it. I don't think that requires any work on my side other than just sharing some info. So if there is somebody who's interested, just ping me and I'll share those Docker compose stacks.
Yeah, it will be nice. I think I need to run my benchmark at 390. I don't know when. But then it's just writing out the data from the database to the host system and mounting the volume, I think.
Well, sounds good. I think, yeah, Mike's offered up the stacks if anyone needs them, and yeah, so go ahead and contact him if anyone feels that they got some free time and wants to take a shot at it. It'd be great. But yeah, I think that's it. So, Pawn, any other any other thoughts or about what your your system? Do you I know you got a big case, and so you're just really just looking at for motherboard and CPU suggestions, and is that
Yeah, that was basically it. So probably best
right?
option to speak to Speedy, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think like some old server hardware could make probably an inexpensive way to get this going. They tend to come down in price quite a bit from faster than like workstation stuff, and they have a lot of
I
PCIe
think he's
lanes.
been recently checking that out. Like Speedy's been specing out a server grade infrastructure. So I think he might have some resources he could share.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll have a word with him.
I shared a resource where somebody built an inexpensive server. That's what one of the versions I was looking at. But then with a P100.
All right, so yeah, if anyone wants to take a peek at that, there's a link in there for anyone who wants to take a look. All right, well, then we will move on to Mike. You want to talk about the memory usage topic first?
Well, I think, if you pair the conversation that Thom and I forget who initially reported the memory concerns. Still seems to be some forensics collection going on. I don't think there's a verdict yet or any clarity. It just folks are wondering what memory usage is looking like on most nodes, and if there's any particular version or usage that seems abnormal. I didn't read the whole entire thread. I just wanted to hear about it. I'm always looking at the performance. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone here has anything to add to the discussion, but I know that they were talking about it. And I think if you look at what Eric mentioned about additional load coming into the network, I think now's a good time to identify a memory leak if we have one.
Yeah, I can just say that after seeing those posts earlier, I just took a look at my node exporter, and I didn't notice any memory leaks. I mean, my memory usage seemed pretty uh, just even for like when I looked over the last 30 days. Um, roughly it was like looking at like 4 gigs or something like that, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Um, so yeah, again, no leaks. I wasn't noticing any like increase over time. So for me personally,
It's important to note the Livepeer version as well. So if you're running, I think they were reporting from the master branch that they were running some tests. So, but if you're running version 6, 6.0, or if you're running 7.1, 7.2, like having the exact version number is going to be helpful when trying to compare results.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point
I
too.
feel like I've had memory leaks forever with Livepeer, like multiple versions, including the newest one. And one thing I found out is like even if you just run apt upgrade, it refreshes it and like clears the memory. Um, but like if I leave my nodes for a few weeks, the memory it jumps up to like capacity. I'm surprised it hasn't crashed anything yet, but I definitely have noticed leaks in the past.
Huh. I mean, I've had I noticed like at least one of my servers when I looked was had been up for 21 weeks, so without a restart. So I'm not seeing I'm not seeing any sort of leaks, but that's just you know, just from what I've seen. But and it's again, I've got like, you know, 32 or 64 gigs of memory on these machines. I'm not concerned about running it for. Just again, just my observation. So, oh, I see you got to go, Rick. Well, thanks for coming, and listen in when you if you want when this gets posted up.
Well, I guess the takeaway is, you know, everyone keep an eye out for it. You know, if there's anything noteworthy, you know, it'd be good to have, you know, the version number you're running. And if you have any node exporter charts that can show, you know, and again, the important part is if you're sitting there idle with no streams, right, you shouldn't see memory increasing. If you are busy, you should see memory increase. But as soon as the streams start to taper off, and your load goes down, you should also see system resources go down, right? You know, there should be some ebb and flow where it goes up and down based on work it's doing. If you're tight on memory, you'll probably see this more. If you have, like Papa Bear was saying, he's got, you know, 64 gigs running, his process is using 4 gigs. You're probably not going to see a lot there, which is good, but just keep an eye on it and keep those things in the back of your mind when you're looking to report something.
Like Ben, how high were you seeing your memory usage go up to? Just if you remember.
It's much more evident on the smaller O's that I run. So if I had a server that had, you know, 6 gigs of RAM, I would see it go up to like 5.5.
And
Just kind of max out there.
that's a standalone O, not a combined.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I have a small standalone O that I mean it only has 2 gigs of memory on it, and that thing definitely gets pretty maxed out at times, which is
Yeah, I
not.
have a 4
Yeah.
gig one, and I see that thing swapping. Like it'll actually start swapping when it's under heavy load, but then I'll see, you know, it'll stop swapping. I'd imagine that's probably going to have an impact on my performance too. I might need to cap my sessions better, but just one of those things you got to continually watch and care and feed these servers.
Yeah, no, definitely something for us to all keep an eye on. So glad that was brought up, and I'll definitely be keeping a closer look at that, especially with if the increased traffic starts coming in soon. All right. Anyone else have any comments on that or thoughts on that? All right, Mike, do you want to talk about just the cloud stuff that you brought up?
Yeah. So as you guys know, the Livepeer Cloud SPE passed this proposal and funding was underway. Development has already been underway, but I just wanted to at least recap here for folks that at the end of February, in the next week or so, we'll be publishing draft documents for setting up a broadcaster, configuring it, funding it, and we're using the livepeer.org docs as the place where we're going to be publishing these. So we have a fork and we have the docs updated. We have it deployed. We're making some minor edits and tweaks right now, but I think we'll be in a position in the next couple of days where we're going to share it with the orchestrator community and the Livepeer community at large and see if folks want to give it a shot, try to run it themselves. We'll have a link that you can view these pre-released documents so that you can walk through it. Again, ideally is it easy? Is it simple? Can folks follow this? Does it make sense? You know, we've been looking at this doc now for several weeks, so we feel good about it. But again, having a fresh set of eyes to take a look at it. So if anybody out there wants to help participate in setting this up and giving a broadcaster spinning in one of them up and seeing how it works, you know, let me know and I'll share you the private link for the pre-release docs and we can get you guys in there taking a peek at it.
Yeah, no, and we really appreciate if anyone wants to take a look and just, you know, yeah, like Mike said, just either running them or even just reading through it and seeing if it just makes sense or if there's any typos or anything like that. would be great before we actually push it, put a PR in for it.
I mean, we've done all that work ourselves. It's not like we're asking folks to do it. We just want folks to make sure that whatever we're delivering is high quality and is valuable. And if it doesn't make sense to the average Livepeer orchestrator, it's probably something's wrong. So we just want to get that feedback early so we don't release it and then find that we have to go back and make wholesale changes.
And we will, yeah. I would say, I mean, good chance tomorrow. Like we will be able to share that link. So keep an eye for that. We'll post it obviously in the Livepeer Discord when it's up.
Congrats on getting that pass, guys. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who had faith in us and voted for it. So thank you guys. Well, there's no other official topics here. John came in after we did introductions. I don't know, John, do you have any topics for today, or do you want to let people know who you are?
Oh, hey everyone. This is John. I run the Elite Encoder Orchestrator. I've been operating since October 2021 and been making some improvements to Livepeer. We're working on, let's see, I've been working on that Swarm project. Did a little more research on that yesterday with Mist Server. Was able to get some segments through the existing workflow that goes to S3 from Mist Server. I don't know. That's the only topic I'd have to bring up today.
So does that and I'm just trying to think, remember, does that allow playback directly from the S3 bucket? Like, can you play back directly through that for a live video and for, I guess, VOD as well?
Yeah, I mean, in the context of a Mist server, yeah, it does support that. You can push an HLS playlist through its S3 storage endpoint and play it back. It's just a little tricky to learn how to configure. So there's some query parameters you add to the target string in Mist server when you config it, and then it'll break it into the right segments, like 2-second segments or longer. So that was sort of the trick I've been stuck at for a couple of days with that one. What I'm trying to do is extend Go tools so that it has an interface. So there's already an interface for IPFS, for example, and what we want to do is add one for Swarm network so that we can upload segments there. The tricky part, unlike S3, which kind of, if it has a CDN edge to it, you can just play it back. Swarm just has like reference IDs. There's not file names or file extensions, so that's going to be the tricky part as far as
You
building
need
a
another
playlist.
app on top of that layer to interface with.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of a neat concept. I mean, if everyone was running a B node, then they could, Swarm node, they call them, it's a B client, and there's an API for that. That's what we're using to upload into the Swarm network, but you can also use that to retrieve data from the Swarm network. So some type of application that runs on that gives you that decentralized CDN kind of effect. We're still, really researching how effective it is at propagating across Swarm network. But still working on this proof of concept, and hope to have it ready in the next few weeks, the latest. You can definitely play back from one particular node, right? But as you're saying, having a client application, you could pull it with that reference ID from a node that's, hundreds of miles away or something, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I think that adds a lot of value to the network to have another option for delivery, compared to just a traditional CDN. So,
And
Yeah.
as it relates to the Livepeer Cloud SPE that we've been working on, the public broadcaster is a part of it. And one of the things that we can't afford to do at a public broadcaster is allow playback from the broadcaster, because the amount of bandwidth needed for that is going to be significant, especially the more people we sign up to use it. So being able to push the content somewhere after the fact and having that content readily available through a CDN would be something that I think the SPE is definitely going to be looking at. I mean, we have some solutions in place now, but ultimately they're they're not as clean and elegant as what you're describing.
Yeah, and one thing I'm thinking about is having like an Nginx reverse proxy and being able to get these reference IDs out of Swarm, through some type of regular web page, so that you don't have to have a specific Swarm app to play back the video. So that would be kind of a nice addition as well, to see that scale.
Yeah, for sure.
And Go Tools is what's used inside of Go Livepeer for, like there's an existing recording functionality that I was working on last year, and what we have today is actually it's like Catalyst. You've got Mist Server and this little program called Catalyst Uploader, and it's not much code, but it pulls in Go Tools and it does everything for S3 and so on. It's just that adapter that connects Mist Server into the S3 storage functionality. So it's really interesting because what we built for recording last year is pretty much based on the same code. It's just so at the end of the day, it's pretty maintainable. We could probably interface this in Livepeer more directly without Mist Server. That's what I'm thinking.
I'd be curious to see how that would work. So if you decide to start taking a crack at that, I'd be more than willing to help you with that and at least look at it and see what that effort might look like.
Sure. Yeah, right now I'm working on like test strategy for debugging Go Tools so I can make these changes to it we need to make, but I can definitely demo how Swarm works anytime soon.
I was speaking more specifically on that Catalyst uploader thing you were talking about.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I
If
can
you
show
wanted
you how
to
that
use
works.
that, yeah, how could we use that from the broadcaster, like a Livepeer broadcaster, not the Mist server? I'd be real interested in that one.
You'd probably be easier just to move the code that's inside of it into Go Livepeer. To your point, it's a very basic application, but it takes binary data
Interesting.
through standard input basically, and then the rest of the code is pretty much already inside of Go Livepeer. So, yeah, it may be time to revisit that recording work we did last year. But there's definitely use case for it, in Mist Server. So.
I think we see these patterns in many use cases surrounding media platforms as the SPE is going to integrate with other media platforms. We'll probably be facing this issue over and over again. So good to have a clean decoupled integration to use.
Yeah, it does plug in pretty well, so it's something we can add, partner with in the ecosystem. So I think Swarm has got a really good value proposition.
Cool.
Yeah, that's very exciting stuff. I'm definitely going to follow what you're doing with that, John. I think it could be really valuable to the whole ecosystem. So appreciate you working on that. So yeah, I see also Authority Null. You came in after we did intros. I don't know if you have a topic or if you just wanted to let people know who you are. Or if you're taking a break, that's good too. We could jump over to Varies. I see you came in after we got started. You want to give us a little intro? And I don't know if you have a topic for today.
Yeah, hi Al. I'm running the Where's in Immersed Eve orchestrator since I think almost 5 years now, if I'm not mistaken. No specific topic, maybe just I've recently shared an idea about the new tokenomics model for the LPT token on the forum. Yeah, maybe just have a look, and if you have any inputs or questions or critics, just write it there, or we can also talk about it here.
Do you want to give us a little just brief overview of that for the people that haven't taken a look yet at that?
I saw the post. I definitely wanted to take a look. I just haven't had a chance to yet. But a good, quick overview would be really helpful.
Yeah, so the main idea is basically that the broadcaster keep paying in ETH for transcoding work, but now the Livepeer protocol will pay the orchestrators in inflationary LPT instead of in ETH. So basically, it would look at the value of the ticket, the winning ticket, and pay the respective amount in LPT. And so now the protocol has ETH, and with that ETH, it could actually create so-called protocol-owned liquidity in the form of a Uniswap pool like ETH LPT, and it could basically just pay ETH into this pool, meaning it would automatically swap into a 50-50 ETH LPT position. And with that, the more work there is on the network, the more protocol-owned liquidity is created. And like we create this really deep liquidity for LPT outside of any centralized exchanges, which in my opinion makes a project more decentralized. And it would also help with like moving in and out of LPT without all the layer 2 bridging time and stuff. Because basically you can easily swap into ETH, and with ETH you have like fast bridges and everything.
And
yeah, that's like the main idea.
yeah, and if I remember correctly, it was would there be was your proposal to also create like a I don't even know the right way to phrase it, but like like something that works like the treasury where where a percentage of the inflationary rewards go into that to pay the orchestrators? Is that how it worked? I
Yeah,
didn't completely
yeah,
understand that, but
obviously we kind of need to get the LPT from somewhere, right, to pay the orchestrator if we want to keep the ETH from the broadcasters and replace it with LPT. With the current amount of work that is happening on the network, I think it's around 10,000 in US dollar per week. And I think right now we have like 150,000, even like with the current value increase of the LPT token, I think it's closer to like 200,000 LPT that is mintable each day, like each round. So that would like equal to 1% or less of the inflationary rewards that would need to be kept back in order to pay for eventual tickets. And either we create like another, so like similar to a treasury, another pool for the work, or we just take it from the treasury. I think as long as it's below 2 to 3%, that would be totally fine from my point of view.
and would it be and I know it's just it's a thought and it's not a finished finished ideas, but was your thought that would that adjust based on what the ETH price and the amount of work that comes in on a daily basis, or how would that what's your thought on how that would work, or would it be kind of just every so often it gets adjusted for the amounts?
Well, I mean, the main idea is just like replace the ETH payments from the orchestrator, from the broadcaster. So we would basically need like a price oracle. I mean, Chainlink comes to mind, where we can create like an on-chain price oracle for the LPT. And as soon as like the ticket is redeemed from an orchestrator, we query the on-chain price data of LPT and then send the respective amount of LPT for that ETH to the orchestrator, to the winning orchestrator.
Got it. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. It's a lot for me to take in, but I'm certainly is certainly interesting, and I think it could be a good way to also create that liquidity pool to make it easier to get ETH, or sorry, to get LPT out of L2 for. Would that be so that would be, you were saying, a Uniswap thing, so and it would just, it increases the liquidity for LPT just across the board. It's not an orchestrator only kind of pool, right?
No, it's just like a public Uniswap, so everybody
Right.
can trade through this liquidity. We could also create a balancer pool instead with like more weight on LPT. There's like 80-20 positions, so 80% LPT, 20 ETH. That would be another idea. And it's also worth noting that like essentially it's also a buyback of LPT, since if we get like $100 in ETH from the broadcaster, the protocol would then swap this into a 50% LPT, 50% ETH position. So it would be $50 buyback of LPT, and the other 50 would stay in ETH. So the more work that happens on the network, like the more LPT is bought back from the protocol. And should we in the future decide that we have enough liquidity, like thinking millions of protocol-owned liquidity, we could like move to a fully buyback and burn model. So with every ETH that comes in from the broadcaster, we could just buy LPT through this protocol-owned liquidity and then send it to a burn address, essentially taking it out of circulation.
Yeah, very interesting, because I know there's been a lot of talk about people talking about putting a burn mechanism in, so it could kill two birds, one stone, I guess. Yeah, it's
Is
a
this
little
a
about.
concept you're actually going to pursue to build, or is this something that you want to just see what the response is to it? I mean, is this something you're literally trying to move forward on, or what are your thoughts on this going forward? Is this a high priority?
Not really high priority. It's just like it's still at the like idea stage. So I'm curious on what others think. I mean, the main reason is really like seeing all those interesting tokenomics model from other projects. And I mean, Livepeer has stayed with like the same really basic model for such a long time now. And I think LPT is nicely distributed now. So we could think about like evolving the model a bit and like being more efficient with using those inflationary LPT actually for the benefit of the network, and not just distributing it to every random orchestrator that just happens to be active and does the rework call without even like providing work or doing anything like that. So to me, it's also like a bit wasteful to basically just distributing those $1,000 in LPT each round to everybody, regardless if the orchestrator or even like the delegator provides any value to the network.
Yeah, no, that's a lot to think about there.
Yeah, that's a bold proposal. I definitely need to think it through more. But it's very interesting, and it's refreshing too at the same time. Like you said, it's pretty static, and the crypto market's evolving, and it'd be interesting to see how some of these updates could be applied to Livepeer.
Yeah, I think this is a good proposal. I've seen other networks that have that burn mechanism countered with inflation, and then you get usage driving price, I think, a little bit. Or I think it's a good idea.
All right. Well, yeah, I encourage everyone to go over and take a look at that and read it if you haven't already. It's quite a bit to take in for especially people like me that aren't that versed in liquidity pools and how all those work. So I'd like to hear just people's input on that. And Varys put a real nice write-up on that. So I encourage everyone to go take a peek at that in the forums if you haven't already. Those are all the actual topics that we have brought up. Does anyone have anything else they want to talk about? Or we ran pretty long last week, so we could call this one a short one if everyone seems to be, if everyone's satisfied with what we've got done today.
Sounds like it.
All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap this one up and thank you guys all for coming. And I believe next week you'll have Titan back as your host. And have a great week. And actually, I guess we'll see most of you guys tomorrow in the open ecosystem call. So until then, have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, Substitute. We appreciate it, man.
Always glad to do it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.